2 years ago, it was the Great Resignation, but unfortunately, now it is the Great Layoff. Companies which once promised work life balance are giving out pink slips. Jobs which once advertised cutting edge workspaces are laying off workers like there's no tomorrow. What happened to these tech giants? Is the tech bubble in the process of bursting out? Is your job safe? Well, let's find out in our episode today. Hello viewers, here is Giridhar and you are watching the video podcast Giridhar's Garady. Today, let's look at what's happening around us. People are being fired, left, right, and center. Every year, millions of graduates dream of a high paid job in the rainbow world of tech. Has that dream turned into ashes? Are these the same companies that rush to your college campus for placements? For 2 decades now, most of these companies have defined aspiration and ambition. Professionals want these logos on their CVs. It doesn't matter if you are an engineer, a human resource professional, or a consultant. They want to work for the Metas and Amazons of the world. Working for Google means you have arrived. But today, the same Google is firing its employees. The companies that were once the top hirers and the biggest pay masters have lost the bandwidth to retain employees. The same employer who onboarded you promised a shining future. The same employer who asked you for 100% efforts and you gave that. The same employer who sent you on workshops so that he could extract the most from your skills, who knew how to exploit you fully, has now suddenly shut the door on your face, leaving you broke and heartbroken. Your access card does not work anymore. You have been logged out of your official email without any explanation, without an apology. You are left with just an automated email. And why is that? Because when the going gets tough, these tech companies pack up and get going at the very first sign of economic strain. These tech companies have decided to put profit over people. Young expecting mothers have been laid off. Where is the corporate social responsibility? If we go into the figures, in the last 6 months, more than half a million employees have been sacked around the world, with over 50,000 jobs lost in 1 week in January alone. On January 4th, the Salesforce has announced that it is cutting 10% of its workforce, impacting more than 7,000 employees. On January 5th, Amazon announced eliminating more than 18,000 roles. And on March 20th, it again announced that 9,000 people are set to lose their jobs. On January 18th, Microsoft announced that 10,000 employees will be impacted as part of the layoffs. On January 20th, Swiggy announced plans to lay off 380 jobs and shut down its meat market. On January 23rd, Spotify announced that 600 employees will be impacted as part of the layoffs. On February 6th, Dell announced that 6,650 people, or 5% of the worldwide workforce, will be impacted as part of the layoffs. On February 7th, Zoom announced the cut of 15% of its staff, or 1,300 people. On February 9th, Yahoo announced laying off 20% of its staff, impacting 1,600 employees in its ad tech business. On February 9th, Infosys reportedly fired 600 trainees after they failed to clear the Freshers Assessment Test (FA test) at the IT company. On February 26th, Twitter laid off more than 200 employees. Since Elon Musk took over Twitter in October last year, the company's headcount has fallen by more than 70%. On March 14th, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg confirmed rumors that the company will be cutting 10,000 people from its workforce and around 5,000 open roles that it had yet to fill. On March 19th, Wipro laid off around 120 employees to realign business needs. The company in February had announced that it will be slashing freshers' job offers by 50% owing to current market conditions. On March 23rd, Accenture announced that it plans to cut 19,000 jobs or 2.5% of its workforce. On March 31st, Netflix confirms a handful of layoffs, which includes two long-time executives. On the contrary, TCS will not lay off its employees, but will also look to recruit impacted workers, according to Chief Human Resources Officer of TCS, Milind Lakkad. The reasoning behind these workforce reductions follows a common script, citing the macroeconomic environment and a need to find discipline on a path to profitability. For instance, Amazon says it has laid off thousands after a hiring spree in the pandemic, and we all know about Amazon's blockbuster profits during lockdowns. So it was natural for the company to hire to meet demand, but what's happening now has been long coming. Fast food chain McDonald's is restructuring the company, which is corporate lingo for laying off people, and they are hiding behind closed doors. Literally, McDonald's closed its US offices while it prepares to tell employees about their fate. Employees are working from home, waiting to know if they have been fired. Most of the companies are citing the same reasons, that they are not shielded from a slowing economy. Instead, they are prioritizing growth. They are restructuring. Dear tech companies, don't show the papers on what you have done for an XYZ NGO or how many children you have sent to school. Tell us what you have done to ensure that your own employees don't face the cruel burnt of this economic downturn that they have had no control over. By the way, some of these employees have risked their lives to come to work for you when the pandemic was at its peak. And why is that? Just so that your company could continue churning cash. These employees have picked up work calls while on sick leave and family holidays. Why? So that your CEOs could meet their targets and earn the extra billions. And now, after just a quarter or two of slow growth, you decide to sack these employees? How does that even work? I'll tell you what. Why not sack the top honchos with incredible salaries? After all, they are the ones making decisions, calling the shots, aren't they? It is they who cannot protect the companies from the risks inherent in any business cycle. It is they who have failed to recession proof the company. It is they who did not have a plan to keep the ship sailing during an economic storm. Why punish those who only took orders? In a broader perspective, the damage goes much beyond this. Industry layoffs have been seen in communications, financial, healthcare, and even real estate sectors. This is happening at an odd time for the economy. Companies overhired during the pandemic, and now, unfortunately, people are paying for it. What's your say on this? Let me know in the comments below. Well, that's it for today, viewers. Let's catch up in the next episode with another interesting concept.